that long ago with the unfortunately late Chi-Town Mark. The famed Disco Demolition Night happened July 12, 1979. The White Sox, again, primarily owned at that point in time by Bill Veeck, with the help of noted Chicago rock DJ Steve Dahl, worked up a deal to, within the middle of a doubleheader between the Detroit Tigers and the White Sox, take all the disco albums that were brought in by fans. Those who brought an album got discounted tickets to the doubleheader. And they were going to ceremonially blow them up before game number 2. Well, the fireworks and a whole lot of beer led to a riot where people fled into the stands, onto the field, ruined the playing surface to the point that the umpires called a forfeit on the part of the White Sox. That kind of stuff. Those are the people that we're talking about. Bill Veeck is that kind of guy. Well, Humpy Wheeler was that kind of a guy when it came to NASCAR. He knew how to figure out a way to get people's attention when it came to being center of mind at a time when really NASCAR was even behind IndyCar, if you stop and think about it.
They were.
Wheeler, born October 23rd, 1938 in Belmont, North Carolina. His father worked for his alma mater, Belmont Abbey College, later Belmont University, where he was the head football coach and the school's athletic director. Well, Humpy was big into sports himself, but he was not known as Humpy until his dad caught him attempting to buy a pack of Camel cigarettes during a football practice session on Belmont's football field held in conjunction with the University of Illinois. And when his father found out, he started to call him Humpy after the logo of the animal that was on the pack of cigarettes. He was hesitant about it at first, but came later in life to embrace the new moniker. Wheeler was around racing all of his life, but he only began working directly with the motorsports world by joining the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company. He was their PR rep for the racing division. But really, Goodyear was starting to take over within NASCAR right about that time, so Firestone decided they were going to abandon NASCAR, and they shut down their PR offices in Charlotte, and that is when Humpy Wheeler said, you know what, I'm staying here where I grew up, and I like it here, so yeah, bye. I'm going to go work for somebody else. So he did for about 5 years, but in 1975, he got hired to be the president of Charlotte Motor Speedway under its new owner, Bruton Smith. Smith family still owns the track under the Speedway Motorsports banner. He wasted very little time getting to work. He got Marcus Smith to give him $3.5 million to start renovating projects that were first announced in 1976, and that first round got completed finally in 1981. But he didn't want the track to be just about motorsports. He wanted it to become a centerpiece of the Charlotte sports world. And he got the World Boxing Association to, for example, stage a featherweight title bout at the track instead of at the downtown Charlotte Coliseum. And throughout the 1980s, he continued to build up Charlotte Motor Speedway. One of those improvements met with initially with skepticism. Think about it. 1983, he started to build that condo complex that currently oversits turn number 1. You and I were in it a couple of years ago when we went to the road course race because we were invited as part of a corporation sort of thing. Those things are actually very, very nice.
Yeah, they are.
And it's a really, really cool view of the track. And despite everyone sitting there thinking, nobody's going to buy condominiums at a track, condos were finished in 1985, and before they were opened up officially, they were all sold out.
Yep.
The 1985 convinced the Cup Series title sponsor, R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, to help sponsor and offer up a $250,000 prize to the winner of what became now the All-Star race, where he invited initially only the drivers who had won a race the prior season. It's gotten expanded out now. Kind of wish we'd go back to the only those drivers who won a race. Just get rid of the Open, too.
Yeah, and plus the Busch Clash.
Yeah. He was part of that. He was a big part of that, too. I mean, this is a guy who did all kinds of stuff. He built the Speedway Club, which is a restaurant and private club. It's still in operation today, hosts numerous events each year. Matt and I are members of the National Motorsports Press Association. We were just talking earlier this week about when and where we're going to host our convention, where we're going to induct the NMPA Hall of Fame members in early 2026. We're talking about having it at the Speedway Club. Be a really cool place to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In 1991, he convinced his track owner against even the thoughts of Bill France Jr., convinced his owner to install lights at Charlotte Motor Speedway. At that point in time, the largest track to have lights installed at. It helped promote the all-star race that set Charlotte apart from most of the other tracks in the Cup Series. And even though he got kicked upstairs, the COO, I should say, of Speedway Motorsports Incorporated, continued to do new things. Invited Indycar to come to Charlotte. That didn't last long. Sold the naming rights to the track to Lowe's Home Improvement stores, things that we're seeing now on a much more regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
As a promoter during his time at Charlotte, he promoted pre-race activities that included things like a taxi cab race where he took 20 drivers in their own cabs, pitted them against each other. That could be a recipe for disaster. In 1984, on the infield grass, he staged a mini reenactment of the invasion of Grenada that had happened just months before. He also did a whole lot of things for the U.S. military over the years, led to officials in Indianapolis to start kind of doing some of the same things before the Indy 500 earlier on the day of Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Wheeler, named Humpy again early in his life, passed away on Wednesday evening. Just a couple of months ago, learned that he was going to be inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in the class of 2026 as the Landmark Award winner for his contributions to NASCAR. One of many honors for Wheeler that includes induction into the Carolina Boxing Hall of Fame, North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame, our very own International Motorsports Hall of Fame that sits on the ground at Talladega Superspeedway. He's in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. There's a whole lot more. I could spend a while doing this. He's got an honorary doctorate from his father's alma mater, Belmont University. H.A. Humpy Wheeler, also known as the P.T. Barnum of motorsports, passed away due to natural causes on Thursday evening. He was 86 years old. A man, I mean, here's the thing about him.
If you want to see the definition of a giant, you're looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the easiest way to put it.
The easiest way to put it, yep.
Number one, and number two, you think about it, it's kind of sad, the fact that how it ended between he and the Smith family that caused him to leave. And he basically just said, I'm done. Mm-hmm. You know, they couldn't come to any kind of terms, so he just... He ran, I think it was the final Coca-Cola 600 that he did. What was that, 2005, 2006, somewhere in that area?
Something like that, yeah.
And then instead of sticking around and writing all the thank you notes and all that kind of stuff, mm-hmm. As soon as the race was over, he packed up, gave his keys to the Smith family, and he was gone.
Yeah.
And It wasn't until just within the past, I want to say, handful of years that he and the Smith family finally kind of reconnected and smoothed everything out, you know? And that's the sad thing.
For sure.
Because really, he should have been a lifer, if you think about it.
Yeah, I agree with that one, no doubt, because of everything that he accomplished, everything he did, and everything that he brought into the SMI fold, not only the SMI fold, but the NASCAR fold as well.
Yeah.
From a promotion standpoint.
All the stuff that he did, I mean, him putting the lights in at Charlotte and making that as successful as it was suddenly made Bill France Jr. go, maybe we ought to do that. And that's how the lights came on at not Talladega, but Daytona.
Wishful thinking there.
Yeah. Well, we keep hearing, we've been asked about it. Hey, we ever going to get lights at Talladega? Don't hold your breath. From what I understand, it's not really a Talladega situation. Or even a NASCAR situation who now owns it. It really has a lot more to do with the infrastructure and trying to get it on the power grid. Because that's a severe upgrade right there to the power grid to make sure that it works.
I don't think that's a severe upgrade. That is an atomic upgrade.
Yeah, it would be. So, but you think about all the things that man did, that man accomplished. And again, it's not just with NASCAR. Like I said, the things that he started to do to honor the military on Memorial Day weekend in front of the Coca-Cola 600 to kind of separate out the Coca-Cola 600 from really all the other races in the Cup Series, yes. But IndyCar suddenly went, wait a minute, he's right. This is Memorial Day weekend. We need to do more too.
For sure.
So it started to spread out, not just within NASCAR, but across motorsports of all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was... This sounds almost quaint to say that he was a visionary, because I'm not sure that covers the whole thing. He was so far ahead of the curve that nobody else could see. I don't know that anybody else could see the curve, much less him.
He stayed ahead of the curve, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Stayed way ahead of the curve.
It's a big loss. All right. Let's get to one other thing here before we start to get into the schedules. Good grief. All right. Here we go. I think we're set. This week, NASCAR channel added another way for fans to watch. They've added Roku to the list of apps where the channel's available. It debuted on the Roku app on Tuesday, officially adding them to the likes of Tubi, Amazon Prime, Xumo Play, Samsung TV Plus as platforms that carry the official channel. Through the week, the 24/7 channel offers a simulcast of the SiriusXM satellite radio NASCAR channel morning show, The Morning Drive. And then throughout the rest of the day and on the weekend, classic NASCAR races, replays of races of this season, documentaries, NASCAR Studio original productions, some video podcasts as well were available. Call us. They're also working with Flow Sports on upcoming live racing. Some of those include a Whelen Modified race at Bowman Gray Stadium that happens later today. Got NASCAR late models running at Martinsville on September the 27th. Back to the Whelen Modified Tour at Thompson Speedway on October the 12th. And they're even going to show qualifying day for the Snowball Derby December 5th from Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola.
Yeah, that's a good move.
And
Very good move.
I think that, truth be told, is just tip of the iceberg for the amount of live stuff that they're going to start putting on this NASCAR channel.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the beginnings of it. All right.
We want to wait till after the break because I need to clear my throat in a very large fashion for this.
Well,
not only but for one series, but for all.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm kind of debating this is because of the fact that, yeah, Xfinity Series news is up first because they got some big news. But we're not going to deal with their scheduling until after we get into the Cup Series. So why don't we go ahead and let's get the Xfinity Series news out of the way first.
Go for it.
Okay, I know I'm throwing producer John curveballs here. So big news, and other than Humpy Wheeler, maybe the biggest news of the week would have come from the Xfinity Series. Or what is the Xfinity Series for now, I guess. Going into the season, Xfinity let NASCAR know that they were not going to be returning after the 2025 season as their title sponsor. We dealt with that with the show way back when. And NASCAR's been working since then to see kind of who was the right fit. And they announced over the weekend, last weekend at Richmond, that the new title sponsor for the NASCAR Secondary Series is, sorry, I don't have a drum roll, O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts has been a long-time sponsor within the NASCAR ranks. We've heard them on the MRNs and PRNs of the world, and we've seen their commercials on television. Mm-hmm. So they have been around NASCAR for a long time, and this deal just kind of actually makes sense. And it's a multi-year sponsorship, which will make it now officially, and this does not really roll off the tongue, but we'll get used to it, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. You can kind of see the logo right there if you're on CRN Live on YouTube right now. It changes the color from purple to green, which I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's not a bad-looking logo.
Now we get to look on scheduling and how the schedule, minute-by-minute schedules goes. Instead of NXS, we get to see no apps.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like we used to see Minsk's for Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to become the fourth title sponsor in the series after 11 years under Xfinity sponsorship. Before that, it was Nationwide, and then Busch Beer actually kicked it all off. We all know that. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell said of the new partnership, quote, like the great sport of NASCAR, O'Reilly Auto Parts, born in America, built on the hard work and drive of passionate people. New partnership allows us to continue to fuel that passion for the next generation of NASCAR stars and fans while celebrating the journey we've been on together for decades. If you don't know a whole lot about it, I dug into it and found out that O'Reilly Auto Parts started with one single store in Springfield, Missouri in the late 1950s. Now they have locations in all 48 contiguous U.S. states, 6,400 locations in all, plus locations in Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Canada. They have almost 100,000 employees, 31 parts distribution centers as well. Company President Brent Kirby said, quote, our company's rooted in the same values that define NASCAR, teamwork, enthusiasm, and dedication. You'll see those in action when our customers walk through the doors. We know that they need fast service, and Team O'Reilly get the parts they need quickly with excellent customer service, welcoming all fans to stop by our stores, see how our team can help them keep running. These are the basic things that you would expect them to say, but at the same point in time, I went ahead and put it out there because I think it's pretty cool that they did this. Mm-hmm. Now, this also comes in at a really good time for O'Reilly Auto Parts because they're just now getting set. They're, 2/3 ish of the way through year one of the partnership with the CW network, the lone television provider for the Xfinity series. They were happy with the news because this allowed them to not only tout the O'Reilly Auto Parts company coming in as a title sponsor, but the fact that they have seen a 17% increase in viewership from 2024 to this point in the year. Brad Schwartz said that the success of NASCAR and CW shows millions of fans will consistently tune in for the adrenaline-fueled races every week. Exciting new partnership with O'Reilly gives us the opportunity to expand that reach even further, tapping into our mutually strong presence in the local communities nationwide and continuing to grow our passionate audience in the years to come. I'll be interested to find out how the CW partners with O'Reilly when it comes to this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, for sure. But I'm making this plea. I'm begging. I'm pleading. Do not come up with this stupid, ridiculous, burnt-out tagline. My car is as fast as Xfinity Mobile.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of hearing that. But you know why they say it so much? And I was directly told this by an Xfinity Series competitor.
Yeah.
It will be left unnamed.
But it makes sense as to why we hear it so often.
Every time that is said on air, that is $5,000 bonus to the driver from Xfinity.
Now,
$5,000.
Do they separate that out, or is it combined for one weekend? In other words,
Separate.
you just say it once. So
Separate.
if you say it on the television side, you get $5,000. You say it then on
Check.
the radio side,
Check.
$10,000. Not a bad deal.
So Connor Zilic had a great tie-in last night during the rain delay. Well, you know, with our car being as fast as Xfinity Mobile and my shoulder having new parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts, brilliant tie-in.
Way to go.
Brilliant tie-in.
Fantastic and well done. One more note here, and then we'll turn our attention to the Cup Series, and that's when we'll start to get into scheduling. Josh Williams. He's got himself a new ride, at least to fill out the 2025 season. We'll see if it goes any further. Williams, of course, split with Callig Racing earlier on this year, but over the weekend at Richmond, Williams was announced as a driver for Alpha Prime Racing, going to get 4 races at least through the rest of the year with sponsorship. Last night, he raced at Daytona. How did he do, by the way?
He was in the top 10 until Ryan Sieg decided to throw a bad block and take out half the field at the front that caused the overtime.
So nothing of his fault, really, thankfully.
Right.
He will be back in the car at the Charlotte Roval, at Las Vegas, and the season finale in Phoenix. And again, maybe more. I don't know. He'll be in the 45 Chevrolet in those 4 races, and sponsorship will come from a group called Optum, OPTUM. Is there opening enough? Could he get more races in if Optum stepped up? I mean, I don't know whether the 45 car is spoken for the rest of the year, I guess is what I'm saying.
There's a split time between Mason Massey and a couple of other ones already.
Okay.
But with Alpha Prime picking up the owner's points and resources from our motorsports, they now have a 4th car, so that door is there.
Okay. We'll see whether or not it happens. All right, let's go ahead and take a break here. Looks like we got our issues fixed on CRN Live on YouTube. And again, thanks to everybody who stuck with us through that. We appreciate everybody, of course, listening on the flagship radio station 95.1 The Mountain. And when we come back, we'll talk about the Cup Series regular season championship. That's settled. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about what happened on pit road at Richmond. And then schedule time. Stick around. We're just getting started.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
The NTT Indycar.
Championship Racing Network.
Good morning to you. Welcome in. We appreciate you joining us here, and we're talking Cup Series here real quick, business-wise. Let's deal with that. Cup Series regular season champion is one William Byron. This, you may note, is not the same as the standings that I talked about during the race recap. Regular season championship really doesn't take wins into account. It's only the points accrued through the season. Byron's racked up 839 points to Chase Elliott's 771. With one race to go, that's 68 points. Mathematically impossible to be done in one race. So welcome to William Byron being your regular season champion. Denny Hamlin 73 back. You got Kyle Larson 80 down, 83 back is Ryan Blaney. Then for the second time, I guess I should say, this year, quick thinking by a driver saved a major penalty. And for the second time, the driver can thank Chase Briscoe's pit crew for the assist. First time it was Christopher Bell. Saturday night, Joe Gibbs Racing's affiliated team, 2311, was the victim. Bubba Wallace's 23 crew didn't quite get the left front tire on fully. So as he pulled out of his pit stall, the tire, well, it came off.
Yeah.
So he pulled into the pit stall of the 19 team. The tire, which, again, had come off on pit road, hit the back of the 23 car and, luckily for them, came to rest on the same pit stall. So Briscoe's crew jacked the 23 car up, put the tire back on, and sent Wallace on his way. And as noted earlier this year, the move technically not illegal. Loose tire does incur a penalty, but the move itself not illegal. And despite some complaints from people like, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on his Dale Jr. download, complaining about it, earlier this year, after Christopher Bell did it the first time, NASCAR ensured, by making sure that the wording was there, that it was legal to do this. And of all the changes that NASCAR has made that we can complain about, that one I really don't have a problem with, because this could be a much bigger safety issue if you don't allow them to do this.
For sure. It can be a huge one. But like you said, that's one of the ones they've gotten actually right.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah. It was a good call on their part.
Yep.
In the post-race interview, the winner last week, Austin Dillon, revealed that he had suffered a fall recently. He's been driving with a broken rib ever since. Talked to media in the post-race press conference, said this, quote, "I don't like to talk about it, but I fell off a ladder pulling my bow case off, getting ready for hunting season. Fell on top of the bow case, knocked the breath out of me, knew it was pretty bad. Went ahead and raced at Iowa, then got it x-rayed. Seventh one, and my right side's broken. I've been racing with it ever since. Pretty painful. Raced at Watkins Glen, Iowa, then here. But should be good. Made some pretty big improvements over the last 2 weeks." Maybe that was just enough of a thing to kind of get his mind off of the fact that he has been sitting, 28th in the standings up until he won last weekend?
Something like that, yeah. Pretty close.
Yeah. All right. Before I do this, and here's the thing. I don't really have a big problem with Jordan Bianchi. Let's state that right up front, okay? He's good at what he does for the most part. I mean, there's some things that I've questioned. But I do wonder this. NASCAR puts out the schedules for the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series. And I say Xfinity now. I understand it'll be O'Reilly Auto Parts by the time we get into next year. But they put out the schedules on Thursday officially.
Yep.
Jordan Bianchi puts them out on Wednesday. Now, I understand this. They give it to quote-unquote print media. Athletic is affiliated with the New York Times. They give it to print media early so that they can print it for the next day's edition.
Hey, we're going to go ahead and release it, just so I can be first.
Mm-hmm.
If it was me, I'd be snatching the hard card. No, sir.
There's a trust factor here that I have a situation with when it comes to Jordan Bianchi. Now, again, was he proven right? Yes. I compared what he put out first to what NASCAR put out, and yes, he was 100% right. That's not the issue that I've got. But if I put myself in the place of, say, Steve O'Donnell, and I look at Matt, who is in the position of a Jordan Bianchi, and I go, I'm going to give you this for release tomorrow, and Matt turns around and he releases it tonight, that's a breach of my trust. And I wonder how many times Jordan Bianchi is going to be allowed to do that before they do exactly what Matt said and rip away his hard card.
I would have ripped it the first time. Sorry, but I'd have ripped it the first time.
I get it, but we'll see.
I can't stand him because he thinks he can't be beat. He's getting to that level of Jim Utter.
Yeah. And where's Jim Utter now? Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this schedule for next year, shall we? And we're dealing with the Cup Series first and foremost. We'll deal with the Xfinity and Trucks in a bit. It's teeing up. First up, Clash at Bowman Gray. So, yeah, we're returning there for a second year. That'll be February the 1st. Then we get a week off. That's the week that the NFL plays the game, the Super Bowl, right? And then the next week after that, Daytona 500. So February 1st, Clash at Bowman Gray. February 15th, Daytona 500. Got it. Then it's a run to Easter weekend. Cup Series is going to go from Daytona to Atlanta, Atlanta to Coda, Coda to Phoenix, Phoenix to Vegas, and then back across the country from Vegas to Darlington. And then we race at Martinsville before we take that week off for Easter weekend for the Cup Series.
Problem one. In the words of Ron White, I guess somebody's manager doesn't own a globe.
Vegas to Darlington's a haul.
Why could we not flip Vegas and Coda, start at your furthest point out and work your way back?
Yeah, I understand that too.
Work your way back because that's going to accrue the secondary haulers taking a different car. Because you can't run the same car at Vegas, Phoenix, and Coda.
No.
That's going to require that.
Yeah, I agree.
Require that, excuse me.
I agree. So Cup Series takes Easter weekend off. Then they get back to racing at Bristol. That's the spring race. That'll be the daytime race.
And hey, let's go back to the Midwest again.
Yeah, then to Kansas City. Okay. Then from Kansas City, we go to Talladega. From Talladega, we go to Texas. Anybody got a map? Just asking.
You know, it would make too much sense. Let me word it that way. It would make too much sense to go Vegas, Phoenix, Coda, Texas, Kansas. But no, we got to go West Coast. Let's go back to the Atlantic Seaboard, why don't we? A couple of weeks. Go to the Southeast. Go back to the Midwest. Back to the Southeast. Back to the Midwest. West. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I mean, literally, we are. We're all over the place here.
Oh, but May the 10th. May the 10th. Let's just haul off to the Northeast, why don't we?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, Bristol, Kansas City, Talladega, Texas to Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen moves out of August up to May.
The problem I have, it's not that I have a problem with the racetrack.
No.
From a road course standpoint, on road courses I would prefer.
Watkins Glen is right up there.
They're first.
Yeah, I agree.
Why are we shuffling the date from August initially to September last year, back to August this year, all the way up to May? That's not innovation. That's stupidity.
All I can think of is there something that Watkins Glen is doing in August of this coming year?
I don't know, but
that caused some sort of a schedule conflict?
Why?
I mean, here, for me, if I'm moving a road course up from later in the year to May, I might choose Sonoma.
Yeah.
Because by the time we get there, Sonoma's kind of brown grass / dirt. In May, grass is still pretty nice and green. I'd love to see Sonoma Cup Series run there.
Run green Sonoma. Yeah,
I think it'd be
sure.
fantastic.
I think it'd be great for sure.
But either way, Watkins Glen's going to move up to May. They're moving the All-Star race. We talked about this last week, and sure enough, they did it. All-Star race is going to be at Dover.
Timeout.
Timeout number what? 3?
Yeah. Can anybody that is sitting within the offices of SMI and NASCAR give me a legitimate, in all caps, a legitimate reason for putting the All-Star race at arguably the worst mile track on the circuit.
Yeah. Well, and
cutting the race from 400 laps to 200 is not going to do a darn thing.
Heard Kyle Larson do an interview yesterday, and he was asked, what do you think about the All-Star race at Dover? And Kyle Larson was flat blunt when he said, I don't think the racing's going to be that good.
And you're running the All-Star race in the daytime.
Kyle Larson made an interesting point. Think about how they break up, for example, the All-Star race.
The stages.
Okay.
Stages, segments, whatever.
Multiple. More so than what we even see in the Coca-Cola 600. Okay? We're talking short little sprints, sometimes as short as 25 laps. We've seen as short as 10.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson stated it took his car and most of the other cars that he saw around him about 40 laps before they really came in and could start to make moves.
At Wilkesboro.
No, he was talking about at the Dover race.
Oh, Dover. Okay, gotcha.
He was talking about at the Dover race. It took about 40 laps for those cars to kind of come in and separate themselves out, because otherwise they were the exact same thing for 40 straight laps. Well, that's about the length of a stage in an all-star race.
Depending on how it's broken up, yeah. So we're going to wait 40 laps for cars to come in, and you've got somebody that actually sits behind the 5-point harness and holds the wheel and knows what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to break the stages up. Oh, we're only going to have about a 10-lap race.
We think we know why they're doing this. We think we know why. We'll get to it in a little bit. After the All-Star race, Coca-Cola 600 happens on Memorial Day weekend. That's at Charlotte. We're used to that. And we'll wrap up in the month of May in Nashville before in June going from Nashville to Michigan, Michigan out to Pocono. Now, finally, somebody had some sense, because if you're going to go to Pocono and then go to San Diego for that street course race that's going to happen in celebration of two things, the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, and then doing it on a U.S. naval base. Is this going to be more than 1 year? I don't know. But it makes sense. If you're going to be in San Diego, why don't you just go ahead and stay out there, and we'll just go a little bit north up in California and go to Sonoma. That was at least a decent geographical call.
Makes perfect logistical sense.
All right, so Nashville to Michigan, Michigan to Pocono, then to San Diego, Sonoma, then coming back east, we'll make a stop in Chicago, not for the street race, but Chicagoland, Joliet, Illinois. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it right now. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that said it, so I don't think I'm breaking new ground here when I say this. But Chicagoland people, you better show up. This is your last chance.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
This is going to be your last chance at having a Cup Series race at Chicagoland.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I hope you're right.
I don't think it's going to be.
Because, again, think about this. This is July 4th weekend, which I get. Same weekend they were doing the Chicago street course race. But Joliet sits about an, hour-ish? 45 minutes to an hour outside of Chicago?
Hour, yeah, roughly.
Of course, Chicago is one of those cities kind of like Atlanta, where everything within Chicago is an hour outside of Chicago. But you better go. Instead of finding some excuse, I don't really want to drive the hour to Joliet, whatever your excuse is, you better get rid of it. Because if you don't show up for this race like the fans at North Wilkesboro did, like the fans at The Rock did, they won't go back to Chicagoland. And for NASCAR, this is a massive loss. I don't know how many millions of dollars they spent to build Chicagoland Speedway, but I'm sure it's probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars, because you had to buy the land, you had to buy all the construction equipment or rent the construction equipment, you had to get all the construction materials, and then you had to pay for the labor to put it all together.
53 minutes away from Grant Park to Chicagoland Speedway.
Okay. I mean, we're talking, again, hundreds of millions of dollars.
And it's going to be about approximately a $5 million revitalization.
And I guarantee you, if the people don't show up for it, they'll pull that race out and they'll let that place rot until it falls apart or somebody buys it and demolishes it.
Well, as I said, I don't think that's going to be a problem, simply because one, the car performs at its best on a mile and a half. Two, the surface is worn out. And three, all you got to do is go to the top of the tower and go, click.
Yep.
Lights are on.
Come on. Show up. I'm just saying it right now. And do this because Chicagoland is one of those tracks where right now this car is best suited for. The best racing in the Gen 7 car that we've seen since it debuted was at these 1.5 mile cookie cutters that we hated for so long because the racing was so boring. It's gotten a lot better. And Chicagoland is exactly that kind of a track. Show up.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back. Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back in as Hour 2 officially starts. We went a little over on Hour 1. Oh, well. Talking about the Cup Series schedule here. Just got done talking about Chicagoland instead of Chicago Street Course for July 4th weekend next weekend. So following Chicago, they're going to go down to the other 1.5 mile track that's going to have to be raced at night. Because could you imagine Atlanta in the daytime in July?
Negative.
That's why we have lights, boys and girls. So they're going to run Atlanta. So Chicago, Atlanta, then North Wilkesboro, which had the All-Star race pulled away, gets a points race.
In July.
In July. Correct me if I'm wrong. Lights? No lights at North Wilkesboro.
There would be lights.
Okay, just checking. At least they're up in the mountains. From North Wilkesboro, then they go to Brickyard, run the Brickyard 400 before getting. They actually worked in a second week off in the regular season.
They did.
That'll be the first weekend of August. On my birthday next year, they're going to be racing at Iowa Speedway. It's got me thinking. Then they go from Iowa to its effective twin, Richmond. Is that a good idea to do those back to back? I guess we could do worse than that.
Can't hurt. Yeah, I could definitely do worse.
Okay. Iowa to Richmond, Richmond to New Hampshire. Okay.
So we're doing this little hokey pokey move of race in, race out, race in, race out, race in, race out.
Pretty much. And then from New Hampshire, we drive all the way down I-95 to go back to Daytona to run the regular season finale. I don't have a big problem with this stretch. I'll be honest with you.
No.
Playoffs. They're going to start at Darlington. We're used to that. Makes sense. From there to Worldwide Tech Raceway at Gateway in the St. Louis area, and then we come back east just a little bit to Bristol. That's your round of 16. Problems? I don't really have one.
Not yet.
Not yet. Round of 16 all by itself. Don't really have a problem. Round of 8. Mapping is a little weird on this. Starts at Kansas, then goes out to Vegas, and then comes all the way back to the Charlotte Roval. So the mapping is weird, number one. And number two, that puts the wild card of the Charlotte Roval in a cutoff position.
But where do we start round 3?
From Charlotte to Phoenix.
Kansas, Vegas, Charlotte, Phoenix.
And then Talladega, which maintains its spot, is the middle race in the round of 8.
Just a week back further.
Yeah. And then to Martinsville. So, yeah, the round of 12 and round of 12, round of 8. Kind of goes back to the whole Ron White thing. Somebody got a globe?
My manager don't know how to own a globe.
Break out a map. Go to AAA.
Yeah, buddy.
I bet you they can give you an atlas. Championship weekend is returning to Homestead, Miami on November the 8th. I really don't have a problem with them going back to Homestead, Miami. That's fine.
Nope, not at all.
And the racing's turned out to be really, really good at Homestead, Miami.
It has definitely gotten better.
I wonder if this is the start, though. I mean, they keep talking about it, and it looks like they're probably about ready to pull the trigger on this officially.
Mm-hmm.
Homestead, Miami in a 1-year deal, and then we start to move this thing around to a certain select number of tracks, and it's on a rotation of, 4, maybe 5 tracks?
What is shaping up to be?
It does appear that. Here's some other details that you might have missed. Real quick, let's go ahead, Producer John, let's put up the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. I'm going to have to get used to that for 2026. And what you'll find is that their slate of races largely mirrors that of the Cup Series, mainly 32 of their 33 races. Your one main difference is that Easter weekend when the Cup Series is off, Xfinity Series is going to be running. That's their return to Rockingham on Easter weekend. Trucks and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series are going to be running at the Rock Saturday, April the 4th. For the, let's see, some of the other things here, which will take us. Anything else stick out to you? The fact that they're not going back to Portland, I think was one of the things that kind of stuck out to me. So they go to Portland, what is that, next weekend in the Xfinity Series, and then we don't go there next year.
Right.
So NASCAR effectively abandons the northwest part of the United States again.
Correct.
Anything else stick out to you here? Because, like I said, otherwise this largely mirrors the Cup Series.
Not really. One thing that sticks out to me for Cup is there are only next season 3 Saturday races.
Yeah. Only 3. If you
only
want to put it
3.
that way. All right. Let's, Producer John, go ahead and put the Cup Series schedule back up here. Because for the second year in a row, Cup Series has their in-season challenge. This uses the same 5-race bracket-style head-to-head competition that runs concurrently with the TBS sports portion of the Cup Series slate. Those races are going to be a little bit jumbled up here. As opposed to this year when they started in Atlanta, Echo Park Speedway. That's taking me getting used to, by the way. They're going to start at Sonoma. So you go basically from one wild card to another.
Yeah. But with this setup,
Less of a chance of having a 20-car pileup.
much less one. Two, putting Atlanta in the middle, I don't have a problem with.
Okay. Sonoma, Chicagoland, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, and as it did this year, wrapping it up by crowning the $1 million winner at the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis.
Wilkesboro may be the bigger wild card of all.
Bigger than Atlanta?
Possibly.
Just asking.
40 cars on a half mile.
Sure. And I do ask this question because they haven't stated yet how long this race is going to be. And we've seen a willingness to run shorter races.
Wilkesboro?
400 laps?
400 laps.
We pretty certain of that?
No, it's been announced. It's the Window World 400.
Oh, it has?
It has.
Okay. I did not realize that it already been announced.
Window World 400.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of laps, man. I mean, same as Bristol, same as Martinsville. I get it. We do that at these short tracks. That's a lot of laps, man.
A ton.
And I agree. It's a big wild card there. There's no doubt. So, yeah, Sonoma goes from round 3 in 2025 to the opener. Instead of the Chicago Street Course race, we got Chicagoland, Atlanta, the one that busted most people's brackets this year on race number 1, assuming you filled one out. Amazon Prime, by the way, as it did this year, the last 3 races to be shown on Amazon Prime is going to set your field of 32. Using the top 32 in points following the race at Nashville, then the final seeding order is going to be set by the performance of those 32 drivers at Michigan, Pocono, and the Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, which nobody's been on.
Nope. That's the runway race. We're going to call it that. The runway race.
As opposed to this year, SVG, you better be looking at getting yourself into the top 32, man, because this sets him up for massive success. He gets a win at the Naval Base Coronado because he has proven his ability to go first time to a track, if not first time in a long time, first time to any track, and claim the win. And we saw what happened earlier this year. Denny Hamlin won the race at Michigan, and then the race right before the cutoff, Chase Briscoe won it, so they were the 1 and 2 seeds.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he could be a 1, 2, or 3 seed depending on how it all works out.
He could.
But the only reason he wasn't in it this time around is because he missed the top 32. He was outside the top 32 in points.
Yep. He could, but I don't think he's going to have that problem next year.
It's kind of looking that way, isn't it?
I don't think he's going to have that problem because you can technically take and put his, well, I would put his name in ink in one of them.
Watkins Glen, at least. Maybe Coda.
Well, he's got 3 shots. Austin, Coda, Watkins Glen, and San Diego.
Yeah.
Before it starts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's in the catbird seat for next year.
He really is. He's in a much better position than he was this year. And for those who are complaining about it, you and I have talked about this. For those that are complaining about him being a road course ace and a one-trick pony, I hate to tell you this, he's getting better and better. Has he zeroed in perfectly on oval tracks? No.
He was.
But he's getting there.
The entire race at Richmond, he was top 13 of the race in Richmond until, I forgot what happened. Something happened and he got shuffled back, but he was top 13 the whole race.
Yeah. So watch out. Because if he gets that locked in, there's a lot of people in trouble.
Yeah.
And then the other big news out of the Cup Series this week is what Adam Stern of the Sports Business Journal reported. And you and I we've been on this Moonlighter situation for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about it, and Kyle Busch is the biggest culprit of this. And he still runs the minimum 5 races in the Xfinity, soon to be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Truck Series. Still runs the minimum 5 or maximum 5 every single year. But apparently, NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell got to talking this week. Stern quoted him as saying this, quote, maybe we have some more Cup drivers in the Xfinity Series, open up eligibility even more. Got to talk about trying to gain a balance between talent development, which is what the secondary series is really for in its entertainment value. He said this, quote, you look at all of our series that we have limits on. Could a Cup driver compete? How many races can they compete? We certainly have discussions with the CW and the Truck Series as well. Does that rule as it stands now make the most sense to continue it as it is, or do we tweak it? So we're looking at a lot of things, taking a lot from the teams and from the drivers. Here's my biggest problem with this, because we just got to talking about how the CW really seems to like the O'Reilly Auto Parts addition to the title sponsorship there. But I looked at the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
According to the Nielsen TV ratings, having the Xfinity Series on the CW network, despite all the people that complained about it going, I don't know where the CW network is. Well, apparently they found it. Because having it there has increased the viewership significantly over last year's split between Fox and NBC Sports, when practically none of the races got shown on the broadcast network. It was always on Fox Sports 1, maybe on Fox Sports 2, and generally was on the USA Network, if it wasn't bumped all the way over to frickin' CNBC, which nobody knows how to find. On average, the CW reports more than 1 million people tuning in for each and every one of the races, and they have seen as high as 1.8 million plus viewers for a race or two this year. That is a jump that puts them, 1.8 million certainly does, on par with the IndyCar and Formula One ratings here in the United States. Average viewership.
Which is good.
Yes, that is a significant improvement. Why are we looking?
I would say substantial.
Are you ready for this classic phrase that we use on this show so often? Because here it comes. Why are we looking to fix something that's not broken?
Bing.
Why do we continue, NASCAR, to do that? How many times are you going to fix something that isn't broken before you realized you didn't need to break it to refix it?
Ding.
Stop it.
Ding, ding, ding,
Just
ding, ding, ding.
Stop it. The Xfinity Series is doing just fine all by itself, because these drivers are spreading out their times in these varying star cars throughout the course of the year, to where you get one or two Cup Series moonlighters in just about every race that they can possibly be eligible for. They're not eligible for the playoffs, for example. Great. Leave it.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. 2 tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
One final note on scheduling here, and you might have noted that when we were talking about it, I was talking about how this might be a last gasp for Dover, because they got the All-Star race coming up next year, and that seems like something of a demotion. I get it. The All-Star race is kind of a fun deal, and it's a big cash grab and all that kind of stuff, and sometimes we just see them just let everything fly, and they don't really care about it. It's either checkers or wreckers, because if you bring back the checkers, you get a big check. And if you don't get the big check, who cares whether or not that you cracked up the car, right?
True.
But it kind of seems like Dover might be on the chopping block. And the reason we state that is because nothing has been confirmed, nothing has been announced, but reports out of Nashville seem promising for Nashville Fairgrounds.
And apparently, if the Fox affiliate in Nashville is stating that has come to fruition, they've obtained the aspects of the deal. Let me go back to it.
And the thing that got me about this, and Adam Stern, who is a guy who we've quoted on many an occasion here on this show because he's a really good reporter, he's got his finger on it. He apparently found a quote, whether or not he talked to this person or whether he just found the quote and found it interesting, and I find it interesting too. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a paraphrase, but they talked to one of the people that lives in one of the houses in the neighborhood where the track is located.
Sure.
And they said, well, my husband and I bought this house because we heard rumors that they were going to shut the track down. You bought your house based on a rumor.
Yeah.
You should have confirmed it.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't like the track being there and you were insistent upon buying the house based upon a rumor, I think I might have done a little more digging. Because in the end, here's your biggest problem, lady. You bought a house in a neighborhood that has a racetrack.
Bingo.
That is the problem that I've got with all these people that are complaining about it, because the racetrack was there long before those houses were there.
Mm-hmm.
Long before those houses were there. You were the one that bought a house in a neighborhood with an active racetrack. It's really on you.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, it is.
For sure.
All right, so what do we have?
The deal has been struck apparently by Mayor Freddie O'Connell and Speedway Motorsports to get it revamped and have it back going by 2027.
Okay.
And basically the same things that had been being said all along, part of the deal.
Yeah. Stuff that SMI says that they're willing to do.
Yeah. $5 of each ticket sale goes back to the Metro Fair Board.
Which, okay, I can deal with that.
You can deal with that. It'll load up. Here we go. Reconstruction of the grandstands to be at least $25,000. Well, a maximum of $25,000, which that's about what Wilkesboro is.
Yeah, and it's a small expansion. It's not like it would be a major expansion of the grandstands at Nashville Fairgrounds.
Yep, one race every 2 years.
Okay, so not every year. All right.
A minimum of one NASCAR race every 2 years.
Which means Cup, Xfinity, and or trucks.
Yep.
And I know I still use Xfinity. It's going to be a hard habit to break.
Sound level lower than the current standard, which has going to be the wall.
They're going to put up a sound
wall. Non-NASCAR races that are there, the race cars be outfitted with mufflers. They already do that. New 500 vehicle parking garage with the money generated by the garage going to the Metro Fair Board.
So who's paying for the building of the garage?
Speedway Motorsports.
This shows how much they want it.
Yeah. The overall agreement requires Speedway Motorsports to guarantee any debt associated with construction, which Marcus and everybody already done said they're going to do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the basic gist of it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's been the whole time.
And then it's just doing the work.
Yeah.
Again, all the plans are effectively in place, and I want to say that there's a repave involved in that.
Did not say anything about a repave.
Thought we heard that at some point in time, but I might be mistaken on that.
Well, leave it like it is. Let it just be so abrasive that they just got to get elbows up.
Yeah. Let's see how the racing is there. And if you need to, then you can go back like we did after year one at North Wilkesboro and then go repave it.
For sure.
No big deal. God, I'm getting tired of this. Latest legal volley between the battle between 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports up against NASCAR. The sanctioning body is now claiming Michael Jordan, co-owner of 2311 Racing, is seeking something that no other team owner is. He wants a permanent charter And as for racing without charters, NASCAR states neither team has suffered any harm as open entries, and so far they haven't. In the 34-page filing sent in on Monday, NASCAR noted that they have buyers already lined up for the 6 charters that got assigned to both 2311 and Front Row, but because they were set aside by Judge Kenneth Bell in the case, as the court decides they can kind of still use them, they're still trying to figure that out through the end of the year. But NASCAR said effectively that they are more than prepared to begin the process of allocating out those 6 charters as soon as is feasible. Now, here's the thing. NASCAR's claim that Michael Jordan wants something that no other team does, not 100% true. Because if you think about it, leading up to the point where they actually did sign the charter agreement last August. August? September. Every single one of the team owners that had charters wanted to make them permanent.
They did.
NASCAR bullied it. NASCAR held fast that they were not going to make those charters permanent, and then forced effectively either sign it or don't by tonight at midnight, leading up to whatever race weekend it was. Darlington? I forget which weekend. Atlanta. Okay.
Atlanta.
Thank you. Getting my years and my scheduling all mixed up because we just dealt with all that. NASCAR held so fast, wouldn't allow it. 23 and 11 and Front Row didn't sign the new charter agreement. All the other teams did. This goes through 2031. Then the 2 teams began the legal action. The next court date actually comes later this coming week, Thursday to be exact, just before the playoffs begin. How much, if anything, will change, I don't know. I'm getting tired of it again. I'm really hoping that they get this thing figured out. And I don't know what the fallout's going to be. That's the other part of it. I don't know what the fallout's going to be.
Yeah, that's going to be the bad part.
Because if NASCAR turns around and they allocate these 6 charters out to teams other than 2311 and Front Row, which are uniquely set up to be able to continue on as Cup Series teams otherwise.
And they win the lawsuit, that is going to be monetary damages like you've never seen before in your life.
It's going to be a flipping mess, and it's already a flipping mess, but it's going to be an even bigger mess. Some pretty cool news here. Former Cup Series winning driver Ricky Craven is now a track owner. Craven bought Speedway 95 in Herman, Maine. It's a short track. It's currently owned by Delano Merritt over the past 15 years. He worked at the track since 1968 before he then bought it. Merritt had been said to be talking with several potential new owners over the past year or so and ended up choosing Craven. And think about this. Craven's the only driver who was ever born in Maine to claim a win at NASCAR's top series. Remember that famed clash with Kurt Busch at Darlington back in 2003. Craven released a statement after he was announced as the new owner, said it's a monumental day for me and my family. I have been friends with Del for decades, admired the dedication he has given for his track team and all associated with Speedway 95, and I'm dedicating the rest of my life to a track that's been part of my DNA for many years. Both my mom and my dad won races at Speedway 95 in the 1970s, and I have the honor of receiving the checkered flag and a black flag from Del during my racing at Speedway 95 in a strange way because I benefited from both. Now Del and I can say we're forever connected through the Speedway. We will be in the near future sharing with all the people with equity in this track our intentions to do some aggressive vision of how this facility will continue to evolve, includes several phases that I cannot wait to get started.
Good for him.
I think it's fantastic. And the interesting thing about the Northeast is they do embrace stock car racing to a point. And I say to a point because you want to talk about modifieds being popular in a specific area. The Northeast, New England, New York, all the way up through New England, modifieds are just the bomb up there. They love modified racing in New York and New England. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I think that's perfectly fine.
Sure.
I'll be interested to see what he ends up doing with this track. So we'll keep an eye on it.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
It will. I agree. All right. Couple of things from the truck series. Yes, we'll get to the scheduling here in a second, but first things first, this might be even a little bit bigger because we've gotten so used to seeing Matt Craft in the number 88 truck in the Craftsman Truck Series, but now we're going to have to get used to not seeing him there after this year. Craftsman is Crafton, who's a three-time Truck Series titleist, won the titles in 2013, 2014, and 2019, has said that this year is his final year of full-time driving for his team, Thor Sport Racing. Said he'll continue on a part-time basis. Exactly how that's going to manifest itself, we don't really know. So as of this weekend, Truck Series is off. Crafton's 25-year career includes in the Truck Series, surprisingly, only 15 wins.
That is a surprise.
But in that time, he has been amazingly consistent. 135 top fives, 331 top tens, and 585 starts. He's finished in the top 10 of the final standings pretty much all of his career. 17 straight years from 2007 to 2023. All but one of those seasons behind the wheel of the number 88 truck. The 1 year that is the exception was 2004. He drove the number 6 that year for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. In his time, he's had Menards as a sponsor dating all the way back to 2002. So that's 23 of his 25 years in the series. That is an impressive run.
Very, 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 very impressive.
So who takes over? Not a bad choice. They chose somebody from within ThorSport. Ty Majeski. Ty Majeski is going to become the full-time driver of the 88 with Menards as the sponsor beginning at Daytona next year. He is a title-winning Truck Series driver. He won the 2024 championship. He's got 6 wins himself, 33 top 5s and 54 top 10s to go from the 98 to the 88 truck. He's been in the 98 since 2022. So not a bad driver to take over a heritage truck.
Not at all.
And again, exactly how his part-time schedule is going to manifest itself, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll hear about it soon.
True.
All right. Here comes that scheduling for the Truck Series. So we've talked Cup, we've talked Xfinity, soon to be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And then the Craftsman Truck Series schedule for 2026 actually has, let's just call it more than a couple of differences from this year, shall we? As the Cup and Xfinity Series do, Truck Series is going to start at Daytona to begin the 2026 season and then go to Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. And then we start to change things.
Let's title this one.
Okay.
From the out of left field, where did this come from? Why are we going here department?
Now, here's the thing. This isn't the first time we have seen the Truck Series pair with the Indycar Series. We've seen it before.
It's not the fact that they're pairing with them.
No,
it's the
I get
fact
that.
of where they're going.
I get that. I'm just saying, this isn't the first time we've seen this. So this is not the unprecedented part. The unprecedented part is the fact that the Truck Series goes to goes from Daytona to Atlanta and then comes back down to Florida because they're going to put the Truck Series on the streets of St. Petersburg to pair with the IndyCar Series when they open their season next year. I was curious as to the ability of the Cup Series cars to run on streets. Now we're going to put the trucks on there?
The Truck Series has, choosing my words carefully here. St. Petersburg is tight enough as it is.
Yeah.
You're not only going to you're going to have 20, let's just say 27 Indy cars.
Sure, yeah.
But we're going to add 9 more vehicles and make 36 trucks on there. And something is tight enough as it is.
Yeah. This is, everyone keeps talking about how they would love to see NASCAR and IndyCar overlap each other and both of them be out at Long Beach. Long Beach has the exact same problem. It is an extremely tight track. And then you want to put the Truck Series out there? Ooh. Ooh. All right.
I'm just going to say it.
Go for it.
If Follow the Leader Racing made you mad before, it's about to send you into DEFCON 1 level mad.
Yeah, I don't know how many passing zones there are here. I really
It's
don't.
either going to be follow the leader, nobody passes, or we're going to absolutely obliterate half of the field from people trying to run over everybody.
Demolition Derby.
Simply put.
They're going to stay on the East Coast here, so Florida, Georgia, back to Florida. Then they go to South Carolina. In March, they're going to go to Darlington. Then the Easter weekend that we were talking about where the Cup Series is off, they join the Xfinity Series, soon to be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, at Rockingham before they then go to Bristol and then start to expand out a little bit. From Bristol, they'll go to Texas, then up to Watkins Glen. They will race at Dover on All-Star Weekend for the Cup Series.
Mm-hmm.
Truck Series hasn't been at Dover much in the past, 20, 25 years?
5 years. It's been 5 years.
Been 5 years since they've been there the last time. And from Dover, they're going to go to Charlotte. So they're going to race there on Memorial Day weekend, which, again, I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
Then we get into June. They're going to go to Michigan. They, as we talked about, will join the Cup and Xfinity, soon to be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in San Diego. And then they're going to take a couple of weeks off because while Cup and everybody else goes over to Chicagoland and all that kind of stuff, then we go with the Truck Series year number 2 at Lime Rock Park.
These problems with this schedule are adding up quickly.
That's 2, by the way, in case you are keeping track. And if you're not,
Road courses. Road courses.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
4.
3. Let's see.
4.
Watkins Glen. I looked right over Watkins Glen. My bad.
4.
That's 4. How many road and street course races are they running this year?
This year, I think they're running 4. I think 4 or 5.
And we've already met 4 before we got into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Playoffs. So Lime Rock Park, and after that we go to North Wilkesboro. That wraps up July. Then they go to the short track Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis. I really wish they put the Xfinity Series back there.
Yes, and then some.
August, they'll go to Richmond and New Hampshire, and then they'll begin their playoffs at Bristol and Kansas in September. Remainder of the playoffs mirror the Cup and the Xfinity Series, soon to be O'Reilly Auto Parts. I know I keep going back to it. Charlotte on the Roval. Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, and the title race at Homestead, Miami on November the 6th. 5 road and street course races.
There is no reason whatsoever Truck Series that was founded on running short tracks, the smaller tracks.
Yeah.
There
almost
is-
exclusively.
Almost exclusive. They would maybe visit 2 road courses a year, and it was spaced so far apart you couldn't even see one or the other. Topeka and Watkins Glen.
Or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
Yeah.
That
was added in.
But they were, again, he's right. They were widely spread out over the course of a year.
Why is there a need for 5? There is none.
And I have said this, and I'm going to state it right now. I was a proponent for adding more road course races to NASCAR's schedule. But I also stated it very, very specifically when it came to the Cup Series. They had a 36-point race schedule. I said, put a road course race in one of each of the thirds. Because you can split it up, 12, 12, and 12. Put one in the first 12, put one in the second 12, one in the third 12. All I was asking for was 3. Go from 2 to 3. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to mirror that in your secondary and on down the line, fine. 3 tops. Now we're talking 6 and 7 a year. We're talking in the Cup Series. We're talking 5 now in the Truck Series. It's too much.
Yeah.
I'm a road course racing fan, and I'm saying it's too much.
Way too much. But problem I've got is this. They're running 3 times in 2 months.
Yeah. There's that other bugaboo that we got when it comes to the Truck Series.
You're running 1 time in the month of March.
Yeah. Massive amounts of time off in between races here. They don't spread the schedule out that well.
They spread it out too much, if you ask me.
Well, okay.
Wait, too many gaps.
That's another way to look at it.
Too many gaps, and then you're going to run 6 weeks in a row and take another month off.
Yeah, their scheduling is massively inconsistent.
It doesn't make sense at all.
I'm going to try and put, what's the old phrase? I'm going to try and put lipstick on a pig. How's that? I will give NASCAR credit for trying new things. Throw it up against the wall, see if it sticks. They're doing that famously and fantastically. Try and change things up. Okay, I don't have a humongous problem with that because, you can get stayed, you can get stale. But how much is too much? And this might be an example. This might be the perfect example of being too much.
For sure.
Because all that stuff that you threw up against the wall that you're hoping is going to stick, I'm thinking is about to fall right to the floor.
Very likely.
We got a little bit of time here. In other words, one more segment before we wrap up this show. I've got some IndyCar news that I need to get to here. Silly season affecting them. Plus, we're going to talk about the NHRA and the IHRA. And if we can, a little bit of Formula One news. Can we do all that in one segment? I don't know. We're going to try it. Let's find out together, shall we?
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Well, let's talk IndyCar Series, shall we? Meyer Shank Racing apparently likes what they got in driver Marcus Armstrong, and I can see why. As such, they've come to terms on a contract extension, going to keep the New Zealand native in that number 66 for at least 2026. Meyer Shank Racing apparently doesn't believe in multi-year contracts. Just saying.
Apparently not.
Armstrong moved to Meyer Shank Racing after Chip Ganassi Racing formed a technical alliance with the team, and of course they needed to cut down to 3 teams per the new for 2025 IndyCar rules, which caps teams at 3 at the most. 3 cars at the most. While Armstrong has not claimed to win yet, he has 10 top 10 finishes this year, including a top 3 finish at Iowa, and marks only the second top 3 of his IndyCar career. He sits 9th in the standings with 2 races left. Mike Shank, who's the owner of the team, co-owner, I should say, said, quote, "We're thrilled to have Marcus back for 2026. He's really grown a lot this season. We're seeing that in the results as the season has gone on. His performance this year has shown that he has all the tools to get to fight up at the front. So we're excited to continue building on this progress together." If you are in the position of Meyer Shank Racing as an owner, you're willing to go 1 year, what do you have to see from the 66 car and Armstrong next year to then go not and just sign another year contract, but sign a multi-year deal? What do you need to see?
Wins.
You need to see a win.
Multiple wins.
Okay. Multiple podiums isn't going to do it.
I would say multiple wins.
Okay.
Combined with podiums.
Okay. Just asking. Then we go to Dale Coyne Racing. They're hopeful that they can retain driver Rinus VeeKay for 2026. They signed him to a 1-year deal for this year. VeeKay has performed well enough in the number 18. He's actually got a chance to do something that Coyne has never seen one of his cars do, and that's claim a top 10 season points finish. Milwaukee and Nashville are the only ones left on the slate. VeeKay goes into those 2 races only 15 points behind at 10th place, so mathematically more than possible. Coyne knows that VeeKay has been getting interest from other teams, but none of those cars sit as high in the point standings as the one he's in, said Coyne. Coyne told Racer.com, quote, "I think it will happen. Like I've been saying, I don't think we're going to see many changes next year. We just saw Armstrong going to continue at MSR, so I think he," talking about VeeKay, "is going to stay put. I think you'll know our 2 drivers long before Halloween." It's an interesting date for setting as a time frame for getting your driver lineup set up. I hope it happens for Dale Coyne, truth be told. He's one of those little engines that could. We'd like to see it. We see every once in a while some, what do we call it? The potential of the team if they had the right driver, and it finally seems like they've picked one of the right drivers. And
that's a fair way to be able to word it.
Yeah, exactly. NASCAR, as we detailed in the schedule, is missing one race that they went to earlier this year. We ain't going south of the border. We talked about why in the last couple of weeks that they're not going to be going south of the border, and has a lot to do with World Cup and scheduling conflicts and all that kind of stuff. So no going to Mexico City for NASCAR in 2026. Maybe it'll open the door for IndyCar? According to motorsport.com, IndyCar's 2026 schedule, as much as we know about it anyway, opens up, as we talked about, in conjunction with the Craftsman Truck Series in St. Petersburg the weekend of February 28th and March 1st. Race number 2 is the inaugural Grand Prix of Arlington in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex the weekend of March 13th through the 15th, so 2 weeks later. And then you go with a big gap to what we now know as race number 3. Race number 3 on the schedule as we know it is the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. That's the weekend of April 16th through the 18th. So effectively, you got a month that you have no racing. And yeah, I get it. You got the partnership with the Fox Network, but at the same time, out of sight, out of mind. Ring a bell?
True.
So with a month gap, what could be done? Maybe, they say, they could go race in Mexico City. It's a possibility, and it's a bigger one now than any time in recent history. IndyCar officials said that they were down in Mexico City over the past week or so and have had conversations about going back to Mexico City. This would be the first time since 2007, and that was back when there was the split. Remember when we had the split, the Indy Racing League and the Champ Car League? 2007 was when Champ Car raced down there. IRL didn't. There are 2 things that still need to be worked out. First, what's the layout they would race on? Seems unlikely they would race on the same one as Formula One, but almost certainly is going to be longer than the one used by Formula E. Could use the NASCAR layout. Could conceivably use the F1 layout. Wonder how F1 would feel about that. Details are few at this time. Plus, there's the hosting rights fee the 2 sides need to work out. And time is a factor because motorsport.com says they expect a finalized 2026 IndyCar schedule sooner rather than later. They're thinking sometime within the next week, maybe 2 tops. Get to work on it.
it would make sense to be able to put the thing out when you're finishing your season.
Yeah. And let's face it, that's within the next couple of weeks. They're going to be done by the end of August. And guess what today is? The 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it would make sense to put it out there. If you want to fill that gap, and in my opinion, you need to fill a month gap because that is a long time between race 2 and race 3. Fill that gap.
Correct.
Figure out how to put ink to paper, would ya? Straight Line guys here. Let's get into some news for them. IHRA has announced they've officially reopened their online shop. It is now available. Just go to ihra.shop and you're going to find an ever-growing, their term, not mine, lineup of items that bear the IHRA logo, from hats, t-shirts, hoodies, more. Not only is there officially licensed IHRA merchandise, but there's a limited edition shirt that highlights the Outlaw Nitro series. Hats start at $29, t-shirts start at $25, and everything goes up in price from there. You can start with short sleeve, get some long sleeve. I saw one of those. I saw at least one hoodie. And again, they keep saying that their lineup is going to grow.
Speaking of IHRA.
Do it.
With the little teaser of the scheduled dates for next year for the Nitro series, keyword.
Yes.
Little birdie chirped in my ear that the Nitro boys are coming down to the heart of Dixie.
Bring it. Come on.
To steal.
Bring it.
And it'll go to bring a tear to a glass eye when I walk through the grounds.
There'll be 2 of us that'll be there in spades. Maybe 3 if we can get producer John out of Northwest Alabama. Some sad news here as well. The last member of the NHRA's original drag safari team has passed away. This was a trio of gentlemen by the name of Chick Cannon, Bud Coons, Bud Evans, plus they had Eric Rickman as a photographer. And these guys began going around the country and started in 1954, and through 1956, it was that quartet that helped set up NHRA events under the new official NHRA rules. The 4 of them would jump into a Dodge station wagon towing a trailer full of equipment and met with car clubs all over the U.S. and help the groups set up official races, teach them all the aspects, how to stage the event to the safety inspection all the way through the trophy presentation. Photographer Eric Rickman happened to be the first one to pass away in 2009 at the age of 90. Bud Evans passed away in 2014 at 86, and Bud Coons passed away in 2015 at the age of 90. Chick Cannon, former sergeant in the Pomona, California Police Department, was actually the choice of NHRA founder Wally Parks to lead this nationwide crusade and spread the word about the NHRA all over the U.S. and Canada. NHRA President Glenn Cromwell said of Cannon, quote, "The NHRA owes an eternal debt of gratitude to people like Chick Cannon who are on the front lines for the NHRA in its earliest years. Contributions that the entire safari crew made to the growth of the NHRA cannot be underestimated. Under the guidance of Wally, they set out to showcase and help legitimize and grow the sport of hot rodding and help establish roots in the racing community that still exists today." And the truth of the matter is when you think of drag racing, I get it. We've started covering the IHRA here on the show for the first time ever in our 15 years of existence. When you think of drag racing, you think the NHRA.
That you do.
And that's to the credit of people like Chick Cannon.
For sure.
Sad to say, he's passed away. That old Dodge station wagon in that picture on CRN Live on YouTube. Good gosh. Love it.
Yeah. That is a good one for sure.
And finally, some Formula One news here. McLaren CEO Zach Brown has been letting his drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, do the equivalent of NASCAR's boys have at it so far this year. But now that we've gotten past this August break, next weekend they get into racing again. And the Constructors' Cup title is all but locked up. We've talked about how they're more than double second place in the Constructors' Cup title. The main issue now becomes the battle between the 2 drivers for that battle. Brown got to talk and said he will likely have a sit-down conversation with the 2 of them and talk about how things will be moving towards the end of the year. The funny thing is that he talked to Racer.com at the same time he was kind of touting his upcoming book, which we've got a picture of that producer John is going to put up on CRN Live on YouTube right now. He got to asking and answering other questions, and this came up, and he talked to Racer and said this, quote, "It is interesting because in Silverstone, obviously, we were extremely happy for Lando, disappointed for Oscar. So we haven't had that conversation, but the championship is a long way away. But eventually, you're going to get into a situation where I think you need to actually sit down with the drivers. And if you're in a situation where it comes down to the 2 of them, and I say if, because we still think there are others in the championship. Do you? Really? I'm not so certain I do. I mean, the guy who has been rock solid for the past, 4 years-ish, Max Verstappen, suddenly seems like he's got flaws in the armor. He seems almost human.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more than 2-car race for the title, for the driver's title? Really?
No. Which McLaren's going to win, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, unless they just stumble out of the August break badly, I don't foresee that. I think it's all but done, and it's just a matter of which one of the two it is. But he continued on, quote, I hope after a few more races I can just say with a little more confidence that it looks like it's going to be our two guys. We'll sit down, have a conversation, go, right, one of you is going to win. It's going to be the best day of your life. One of you is going to lose, and how do you want to handle that? And he's right.
This James Spann weather is brought to you by
Let me
Sam.
get rid of that here real quick. He's right about that, because this is a big-time, really, really important situation for them to have to deal with, because this could easily be, what's the best way to put it? An ego situation? You get your butt hurt.
True.
I mean, technically I'm the boss, but let's say producer John's the boss. And John comes to us and goes, okay, Matt, you're number one. Steve, you're number two. Well, you're happy, and I get that, and I understand why you would be. But in the grand scheme of things, how does that make the number two guy feel? Because we've been really running as equals for a long time, and all three of us have. I'll make that perfectly clear. None of the three of us really has significantly more power on this show than the other. John and Matt consider me the leader because I kind of started the show, but at the same time, I consider them my equals. I have a hard time saying Matt's my number two and John's my number three, or John's my number two and Matt's my number three.
Sure.
It's 2A and 2B. This is not going to be an easy thing for them to try and figure out.
No.
And I don't really envy his situation when it comes to that. So we'll find out. Then there's also the note of, if you have been waiting for Brad Pitt's F1 the movie to come to streaming to watch it, either because you were a fan of the movie in the movie theater or you didn't want to go to the movie theater to watch it, well, fans of F1 the movie, you're in luck, because if you have Apple Plus, you actually now have it. The film that made over $500 million worldwide to date debuted on the streaming platform officially yesterday, August 22nd. But again, it is only on Apple Plus, which should make some sense because Apple Films was the studio behind the movie. But can be alternately frustrating to someone like me who has not really yet been enticed to sign up for that service. And I hate to let Apple Plus know it, but as much as I liked F1 the movie, I'm going to need to see more from you, because one movie ain't enough for me to sign up for an entire streaming service.
Nope.
I just put it out there, flat out, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for checking us out. We really appreciate it. A lot of support. Love the back and forth that's on CRN Live on YouTube. Comments in the chat, especially while we're live. Love it. Feel free to make comments down below at any point in time, because this is available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. We appreciate all the subscribers, and we continue to see growth in that. We're up to 156 now. Let's get to 160. I'm aiming for 175 with, let's see, by the end of the racing season. I'm not talking Indycar, talking NASCAR end of season.
That's doable.
It is doable. So we'd love to see it. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to comment. Tell all your buddies about it, too.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Here is the latest weather from Alabama's meteorologist James Spann, brought to you by Bucks Island Marine of Southside.